one brings a guitar and one brings a voice. Then they stand together and make their own choice. I have seen the future, the way forward is clear. Among us still stands a modern day Shakespeare. That can perform, and from the scarred timbers build our own platform. You're talking to 42. What about you, chum? If one brings a guitar and one brings a voice, then they stand together and make their own choice. We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing for all time. We will sing for our people. Harmony, melody, and rhyme. We will sing words of wisdom. We will sing for all time. We will sing for our people with the ancient trilogy of harmony, melody, rhyme.
Right, greetings everybody. Robin here from Courage is the Cure. It is indeed Monday the 12th of February 2024. Got the year right. That wonderful song there by Justice Kane featuring 42. We do have 42 here this morning, my wonderful special guest. It's great to see all of the YouTube people here sent over by 42. Welcome everyone. Hi, how you going? Righty, so Morning Rises format is going to be a little different this morning because we do have our wonderful special guest. But morning, Rachel. Thank you. But we are going to start off with, as always, a funny reel, because in this upside down inverted world that we live in, we need to have a bit of a laugh. So I'm going to have a bit of a laugh at myself this morning. So let me just stop the comments there for a sec. Right, let's add this to the stream, everybody. Oh, let me change that. Here we go. So there we go, everybody. We've got little Mr. or Mrs. Warthog there, surrounded by humans and other little furry animals. That was me, that warthog, flat out there. I was bedridden for a week and had wonderful, supportive people around me, helped me the whole time. So I just thought that was a bit of humour there I could put in after my absence from Cafe Locked Out and Courage is the Cure. So there we go, everybody. Morning, Jan. How you going? Righty. So as I said, the first song there was actually called Harmony Melody, Justice Kane featuring 42. I'm going to add 42 to the stream. Good morning, good evening. How are you, 40?
Good morning. I'm doing very well. 10:30 in the evening here, my perfect time for streaming, so it's all good.
That's awesome to hear. And of course, I was introduced to you by a mutual friend of ours, which is quite amazing, really, because of course, you're all the way over there in Northern Ireland, and the person I'm talking about wasn't born in Australia, but anyway, that's by the by. But yeah, it's fabulous to be in contact with you. Morning, Gail. How you going? For everybody watching that doesn't know who you are, 40, can you just give people a little bit of a rundown? I've put in the title, you're an anonymous poet.
Yep.
And you let me know before that you found society did not function as advertised. I think we can all agree about that, and that you're a strong advocate for the disenfranchised. Can you kind of elaborate on that for everybody about yourself?
Okay, so 2012, I left a long-term abusive relationship and went to all the places where you're supposed to get support. Australia being a Commonwealth country, it's pretty similar. You have like the Citizens Advice, you have housing agencies, you have all that, and every one of them told me, "Yeah, you're you're now a single man with a job. Tell your story walking." Uh, which is not the social safety net I was led to believe existed.
Yeah.
And I then started to write poetry about my experiences. And the first decision was what name I was going to use. And I came to the conclusion that men were not treated really as people. And I was going to use a number. And whenever it comes to choosing a number, well, 42, the ultimate answer, the ultimate question of life, the universe, and everything in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is the obvious one to choose. So, and from then, I've been niggling local governments and also the UN and stuff, trying to get them to change their policies because I don't think their policies work.
Mm-hmm.
And just a classic example, as all you Australians will know, if you don't think that, if you ever doubt as to whether or not the system in general gives a shit about men, realize that just spend 5 minutes looking up your nearest shelter for male victims of domestic abuse, and you'll find that it doesn't exist. You do, however, have shelters for saltwater crocodiles.
Yes.
That's how far down the pecking order men have got. Now, what I have found is that this system, this problem is not unique to men, because once you get on the wrong side of a political event, you get the same legal outcomes and assistance or lack thereof, which you all found out very quickly as soon as you had your lockdowns. And a really strange situation where Australia had one of the most arduous lockdowns in the world, but simultaneously had Black Lives Matter protests.
That's right.
And the World Health Organization, who said everybody needs to stay 6 feet apart, came out and said that it's very important that the Black Lives Matter protests continue. And I'm thinking there's a logical fallacy there. Those two things don't marry up.
No, and stay 6 feet apart, but we'll keep the brothels open because science.
Oh, they were actually at one point advocating that glory holes were one of the safest ways to have sex because there was a physical partition.
Yes, we got that here too, especially with the monkeypox.
Yeah, right. Yes, and the other thing is, and just on an absolute side note, that anybody that says men in general have trust issues, who the fuck sticks their dick through a hole? Not knowing what's on the other side.
Exactly. Oh my God. That's honestly. I do have just before we went live, I said to you I was binge watching your YouTube channel. For anybody that hasn't headed over there already, you can go to 42 on YouTube, and all the links are in the description, by the way. And I did download one of your spoken pieces called Why. I'd like to play that, but before we do that, there's another one that I want to play, and let's remember that you're in Northern Ireland, and this is called this is one of yours as well, called Belfast Lullaby.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pop that up on the screen for everyone to have a listen to.
The last thing that we heard as we lay in bed at night was the never-ending drone of a helicopter flight. The pitch and tone would change as it manoeuvred left or right, and sometimes through the window we would see its flashing light. Hilly Tilly set to full zoom, they patrolled the Belfast sky. We lived out our childhood beneath an all-seeing eye. As kids we'd often wonder why day and night they fly, and now we lie awake at night without our Belfast lullaby. Oh,
So there we go.
That sound is so comforting.
Well, I was born in Australia, grew up in Australia, and I've not really, to be honest, I've never really thought about being a young child in whatever country it might be, and being, trying to get to sleep of an evening with that kind of a lullaby. And you talk there about an all-seeing eye and those sorts of things. What was that like for you as a young person?
I thought every word was the same. I thought it was normal that before you went into the city centre, you went through a big security check where people searched you. Then, whenever you got as far as the shop, you got searched again on the way in, and that every so often whenever you're sitting in primary school and trying to learn reading, writing, and arithmetic, and all of a sudden there'd be a big boom and the windows would rattle and the teacher would say, carry on with your work. And I thought that was just perfectly normal. And really interestingly, whenever I was 13, 14, we went on a school trip over to England to watch a football match, and we stopped at a town and we could see that there was a shop, I think it was a Woolworths, that at that stage still had, Belfast Man Column. At that stage still had restaurants in it. We were looking for chips and stuff, and there was about 10 of us ran up to the door and stopped there, trying to figure out if the shop was open or closed because there was nobody at the door to search it. And that was one of my first. And we were all stood outside there, like going, "What do we do?" And we could see that there was people inside, and the lights were on, but it just freaked us out. As strange as it was also very normal because we all went through it together. In the Harmony, Melody and Rhyme video, the bit that you seen with the police with the water cannons, that's from 2012 whenever the flag protests kicked off in Belfast. And there was a great divide between people that were born before 1980 and after 1980. Because all the people, whenever those protests started, the helicopters were up all night again, and anybody who was born before 1980 was going, thank fuck, that's the best night's sleep I've got in a long time.
Wow!
Because it was a sound that they had going to sleep every night, and the people who were born after 1980, whenever the helicopters were less frequent, were going, that fucking helicopter's on top of my house.
Wow.
It's quite strange.
It's crazy. When I came upon that on your channel, like, as I said, I'd never thought about that before. It must be very sort of moving forward, I guess, to the cold and flu situation that we've all been subjected to, if you like, over the past 4 years.
Here's a really, really interesting one. This will tell you exactly how controlled that was. 21st of July, 1972, possibly 1973, there was 21 bombs set off in the space of 90 minutes in Belfast city centre. The place was in total chaos. A bunch of people killed, very large bunch of people injured. And on Saturday morning, all those shops opened again. Well, those that could, those that still had windows. Everything opened and went back to normal. And we have a virus, and it shuts down the whole country. And it becomes quite apparent to me that there was a decision taken in 1972 that we're going to continue, and there was a different decision taken with the illness, and that decision was we're going to shut everything down.
Yep. So just thinking about how you were talking about people born before 1980 and people born after 1980 and their reaction to choppers above their house. Did you notice when they decided to lock down there that those two groups of people, depending on when they were born, had a different reaction to the control that was asserted then when the lockdowns happened and when they wanted to coerce everybody?
I think the biggest difference was I think the majority of people did things differently privately than what they did publicly.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of people were breaking most, if not all, of the rules privately, but saying that they were doing everything properly publicly. And I think the reason why the mask compliance was so great was because they had decided that they were going to show the outside world. However, what's really interesting is the figures for the gum clinics, right? Which you could always get every year. You could mid-February, you could look up the gum figures for your country or area or whatever, and they would tell you how many people have been there to see if they had any infections. And during the whole COVID thing, those figures did not come out. Didn't come out until 2023, and they found that there was a reduction of people going to gum clinics by about a third. And I'm wondering why, whenever nobody's allowed to be within 6 feet of somebody that's not their family, anybody's
Mm-hmm.
going there if they're actually following the rules. It doesn't seem to make sense.
Are you saying sorry? Are you
I,
saying gun clinic?
no, gun, GUN, the ones
That?
for sexually transmitted infections.
Oh,
Oh, GUN,
interesting. Okay.
gyno. Uh, no,
Right. Got ya. So
right.
there was.
So there's a small dip in the amount of people accessing healthcare for tests for sexually transmitted infections. That should have went down to zero.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it proves that while people were saying they weren't doing this and that, they were still meeting and hooking up with people that they didn't previously know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it just goes back to all of the ridiculous footage that everybody was shown on social media with
Oh,
not only the dancing nurses that had too much to do, that they had time to dance in the hallways, but that apparently all the hospitals were full. But if you speak to any nurses or doctors, they actually say the opposite.
oh,
So
well, we had a thing in the United Kingdom of I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, the 8 o'clock clap for cars. And outside the hospitals, there were minor celebrities turning up with a stage to sing a song or whatever. The fire service was there, the ambulance was there, the police were there, all the nurses and doctors were outside, having something that spawned into a miniature concert. And I'm thinking, who's looking after the people inside?
unbelievable.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
yeah, and people fail for this.
Yep. Oh, and what blows my mind is that, everything's in hidden in plain sight now. And what really gets me is that, our supposed leaders, here's my air quotes, everybody, these three-letter agencies, the multinationals, all these reprobates who think they rule the world, they actually think we're that stupid and would think that let's put on a small concert, as you've just mentioned, and really think that people won't question who is looking after everybody in the hospital.
Yeah,
Please tell me.
well, Why do they put that mini? Why do they put that miniature concert on the 6 o'clock news? It's like, please, people, put two and two together.
Do you think people have put two and two together and they just choose, ignorance is bliss, or I'm too busy because I want to make sure I get enough money to go on my summer holiday? What do you reckon's going on with people?
There are a couple of categories of people, I believe. And I believe that there are some people who deep down know that there's something going on here that's very not right. However, if they admit that to themselves, it means they're going to have to do something about it. Should that be as little as saying to their friends and neighbours something's not right here, or making some sort of comment about it on social media if you want to go a bit further, maybe reply to as many government consultation documents as you can and poke your issues in that way so the government hears you or whatever. You're going to have to do something. And I think what they bulk at is the doing something about it. So therefore they choose to willfully ignore. In much the same way that people who are, we've got to the point in society where we ignore a hell of a lot just for a quiet life, and this is just another thing that people are ignoring. The people that I speak to that live in my area, most of them think that the whole thing is a sham.
Yep.
And you've got a small amount of people that are, no, this is really happening. But
yeah. I was just talking to someone last night and about local elections over in the eastern states here in Australia. They're having local elections.
Somebody needs to take your government to court over your election system.
Yeah.
No, seriously. Seeing the Human Rights Declaration, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are provided with political free will, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your election system mandates that you vote for everybody on the ballot.
What's that? Say that again.
Your election system mandates that you vote for everybody on the ballot. You've got a single transferable vote system where you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Correct?
Yep.
Right, and you must allocate a number to every party or every candidate. Yes.
Yes.
Right. So they have told you must vote for everybody. Now, in Northern Ireland, we have a similarly fucked up system to yours, but we can we use that same single transferable vote, but we can put a 1 and leave it at that, or fill in everyone. But the way your system's working, you're forced to vote for people that you do not agree with politically, and somebody needs to take that to court via human rights.
I think I'm just trying to think back to our referendum. Of course, we just had the Voice referendum here to change our constitution. We can number every box, or we can number a couple. Somebody in the comments, you need to help me out. Hi, Mark. How you going? But yeah, I mean, what really gets me is that you are. It's compulsory for you to vote. That bothers me in the first instance. And Nettie, aren't all elections fake? Well, people know my thoughts about that. I think people are chosen and selected. I don't think votes really count. But that's just my conspiracy, allegedly.
Well, the thing about it is you can elect whoever you want locally, right? but at some point
Yeah.
they have to enact whatever is put down to them by the United Nations,
Hmm.
and you get to your country gets to choose their way of enacting their legislation, but you don't get a vote on who's in the UN.
Yeah.
So you can elect people all night and day unless they turn around and say we're going to pull out of the United Nations, we're going to
Yep.
get rid of UNESCO. Uh,
Hmm.
uh,
World Health Organization.
yeah, World Health Organization. There are very many charitable organizations that all start, and UNESCO get rid of that. Why the United Nations is running the Great Barrier Reef, I have no fucking clue.
Hmm. Yep.
Yep, it's absolutely nuts. Uh, unless your local politicians are going to get rid of them and truly go their own way, uh, you're still rearranging the deck chairs in the Titanic.
Yeah. Oh, I like that analogy. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. I have to catch myself sometimes because we've got a few politicians here in Australia, like Senator Roberts, Rennick, Antic, Babbitt, and a couple of others, and they do get up in Parliament and they do say all of the wonderful, wonderful things that freedom lovers want to hear. But at the end of the day, they always say they need the data to be able to prove, particularly what's happened in the past 4 years with this cold and flu situation. They need the data to be able to prove it, to be able to stand there and say it in Parliament to all of the other reprobates sitting in the Parliament, and and then they'll just drop little crumbs off to keep the freedom fighters happy.
Oh,
And it just infuriates me. We need someone to stand up there and say, you are all responsible for this, this, and this, and we need to stop it. And it actually needs to happen. And as you've just used that analogy about the sinking Titanic, that it's so true. And that's what annoys me about these
see,
freedom fighter politicians who actually don't help us at
the,
all.
this is where I would get in the baller, because if I heard one of my MPs saying, I want to say this, but I don't have the data and I can't say it without the data, I would say, you've got parliamentary immunity, just fucking say the stuff in the House.
Yep. Yep. That's right. That's right.
They have more leeway to say anything than anyone else in the country. And if they say it, nobody's going to be coming to them trying to do them for a hate crime.
Yeah.
You,
Oh,
you know, it's absolutely nuts. We now have categories of crimes called non-crime hate crimes, and I'm like, how does that even work? You
sorry,
know,
non-crime, hate crime. That's an oxymoron, isn't it? That
yes, it is. So if somebody accuses you of a hate crime, that's how it works in the UK. You say something, post on social media or whatever, and somebody can go, I don't like that. That's hurt my fifi, and report you to the police. The police come out and they go, actually, that's covered under free speech. It's not illegal, but they did hurt your feelings. So what we're going to do is we're going to write them up with a non-crime, because it wasn't illegal, hate crime, and that will go on their record. And if you were to be, say, you wanted to be a coach of a kid's football team, and they do the background check,
yep,
that will come up. You know, it is absolutely nuts.
astounding. What about the censorship? Because in Australia, we've got the mis and disinformation bill that they were hoping to push through over the new year, and it's been pushed back another 6 months. And, of course, we've got politicians are exempt, mainstream media are exempt, parody is exempt, which is very interesting. But, it's essentially to, censor everybody. And we're hearing, of course, the Five Eye Nations, they're all doing this lockstep all at the same time. What a coincidence. Funny that. And just wondering about where you are. Is it right that people are getting arrested? You were just talking about fining
Oh,
people for upsetting someone's feelings. What about the crackdown
oh,
on?
there in the United Kingdom, there are approximately 3,000 people every year uh, arrested for stuff that they have said online. Uh, some will go to jail, some will get probation, some will get non-crime hate crimes. Uh, it is absolutely mad. Do you know what? And we also have uh, built into every system. I don't care whether it's Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, uh, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever. All of those social media things have got a block button on them. And if you don't like somebody's rhetoric, you can feel free to hit that block button and you'll
Yep.
never hear from them again.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of doing that, we have moved to, we used to have an honor society where if somebody pissed you off, that was up to you to deal with. We have
Yep.
now moved to an authoritarian system where you go to the police like a 3 year, like a 5-year-old going to the teacher in school and have them deal with it. And it's absolute madness. And
Yep.
while they're doing this, if if somebody's trying to break into your house, instead of dialing 999 for the police to come out, you'd probably get them out quicker if you just did a rant on fucking Twitter.
Oh,
Just
that
go.
isn't even funny. Oh my gosh.
No,
Yep, you're right. You're right.
if if you phone the police and say there's somebody breaking into my house, they'll tell you huddle down, stay out of their way, and we'll get you tomorrow for a crime number. But if you go on to your local police uh, association's Twitter and mouth off at them, they'll be there momentarily.
Yep. It's crazy. And just going back to what you were saying about, we're moving into a, authoritarianism is, quite insidious. And as you mentioned, it's like running off to your teacher and telling someone that they upset you. One of the questions I like to ask people or get them to have a little bit of a think is we want to try to define freedom because we have all these leaders and politicians around us making us question what freedom is and if we deserve this or deserve that or whatever those sorts of things is. But one of the questions I like to ask is, how do we know we're not free? And when we start outsourcing our thinking, just like you mentioned there, with instead of dealing with it yourself when somebody upsets your feelings and you end up calling the cops instead, that's just one example of grown adults outsourcing their thinking to authority to deal with something that a grown adult can deal with in their own life, And so even just that little, fifth generational war tactic, we don't need guns and tanks in the street or, heaven forbid, choppers flying around. They just need people's feelings to be upset, and their go-to is to contact the authorities. That is stealing people's freedom.
Well, how do you know if you're free? If you go into your workplace and a conversation starts, and if for even a second you think, I need to be careful about what I say here because it could get me sacked.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're online and you need to think about what way you're going to type something, because it can land you in trouble. And what you're saying is not like a call to violence or something, then you're not free.
Yep.
Freedom begins in the mind. Are you free to think how you wish to think, and are you free to express those thoughts?
100%. And of course, we've got the very serious situation now, and I think they really put it into overdrive last year in 2023, is changing history. They're starting to memory hole a lot of what's happened, particularly over the past 4 years. And so that bothers me, because moving into the future with our younger generation, you know, talking about your thoughts and are you free, when you can't have a source of truth, and that's not Jacinda Ardern in New Zealand who said that their government was the only source of truth. When you can't
What?
source real truth, yeah. Oh, we can
She
have that
actually
video.
said that.
She said that out loud. She said that out loud. You know, when our young people can't source real truth because they're in the process of memory holing everything, and will continue to do so, you know, we have a real problem in the future with people being able to access that and be free, because they're being fed lies and misinformation, disinformation in particular. So that really troubles me moving forward for our young people who can't source truth to think for themselves and, you know, be free. And I agree with you. It starts in your mind.
Yeah, the people who are currently running the show can't be honest about the weather.
Yeah.
Right. Now, this seems like a really minor point. It does, until you think about it, because they can't tell us honestly if it's raining or it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where's the benefit in lying about that? And
Yep.
also, who, whenever they've got to that micro level of we're just going to give a narrative and not what's actually happened, it has to be happening right across everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we don't get a reporting of true news. We get a reporting of what the system wants to tell us, and trying to get uh, trying to get that is becoming ever more difficult. When you're talking about memory holding, there are a lot of documents that I had linked from 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, government
Mm-hmm.
documents and stuff, or newspaper reports, and that I'd sort of saved because if I need this information, I know where to find it. And whenever I went back to it, either A, it had clean disappeared,
Huh.
or B, it had been changed. And
Wow.
in the book 1984, talk about the memory hole and they're changing everything. They were trying to do that with hard copy. But now, because everything's digitized, it's really easy.
Yep.
And the newspaper report that you read in 2015 that said XYZ now has a little note that says edited and a date on it, and it says ABC instead.
Mm-hmm.
And they are literally changing everything.
Yep. That's right. We've just got Linda here. The weather maps are red, dark, purple these days. No more smiling sunbeams. Even rainbows are toxic now. What I noticed about weather maps, and 40, you were just saying we can't even trust the weatherman. I don't even look anymore what the weather is, because they you're right, they can't even get that right. I just look outside.
Yeah.
And Linda, just further to that, you know, and dumbing down the public. I remember when I was a small human that the weather maps, you could see the troughs and the wind direction and all these sorts of things, which were very informative. You had to do some learning to be able to understand those maps, but was very informative. But now we get the kindergarten weather maps where you get the red part and the blue part and the green part. Talk about dumbing down the population, and just to push this point of global boiling, and then everybody's going to boil in their sweat. And again, they think we're that stupid.
It may be warm where you are, but trust me, here in Northern Ireland, when I go outside, 90% of the time I've got that liquid sunshine that you would recognise as rain. The odd time it occurs, and I've got the same weather that I had whenever I was a kid. It's still shite, and I'm thinking anybody who thinks we're boiling, we had Extinction Rebellion protesters in Belfast complaining that the world was burning in their full wet-proof gear because they were getting pissed on by the rain.
That's great.
Could you please just have a look at yourself?
Unbelievable, honestly. Well, maybe some people are that stupid. 40. Oh my gosh, honestly. Yeah. Right, let's have a quick supporter ad. I know in England they do have the Light newspaper, and we have the Light newspaper here as well. So I'm just going to add this to the stage. This video is brought to you by Scorpion Media Group, everyone. So here we go. Coming to you.
The Light Australia.
Yay, the uncensored truth for news, international news, politics, science, economics and opinion, and sports sometimes. The truth.
Hot off the press.
Step into the light.
So there we have it, everybody. The Light Australia. Go along to thelightaustralia.com. If you can't get your hands on a physical copy, you can get a digital copy there and do all sorts of other wonderful things on the website. And if you want to contribute to the Light, you can also do that through the website. So there you go. Do you have the Light where you are, 40?
I don't believe so. I'd never heard of it, but I'm now going to look into it.
Yeah. Reporting stories the mainstream ignore.
Coffee ketchups.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that about the electric car in Ireland?
Sorry?
Someone says you can buy electric cars.
I'll put it in the comments.
I don't think that's correct. I think you can still buy petrol diesel cars, but they are pushing towards the point where you're not allowed to buy new ones.
Are we having the same conversation? Sorry.
Right. I reacted to one of the comments in the chat because I seen Ireland in it.
I'm thinking, I know I've been ill for 11 days, but I'm pretty sure. No,
sorry, I tangented on you. Somebody in the comments had said that they'd heard that you were only able to buy new electric cars in Ireland, but to the best of my knowledge, you can still buy petrol diesel.
Yeah,
but they will change that.
Oh yeah,
because and Ireland has got lovely weather for an electric vehicle. You need your heater on 11 months of the year. You need your windscreen wipers on 11 months of the year. That's not going to drain your battery at all. Of course not. No, it'll be fine.
No. Well, they're great cars for Australia as well. You know, I'm a bush lady. I live in the bush. You know, it's a good hour just to get to the city, then an hour back. You're stuffed if you want to drive up north for a holiday. How much time are you going to be driving as opposed to charging on your way around Australia? Heaven forbid that anybody wants to drive around Australia. Jeez.
But what about this? Have you considered this? Have you considered that they may, whenever they get everybody on electric cars, they may adapt the charger so you can only charge within 50 miles of your house? So if you can drive past that, but you're not getting back.
Unbelievable. There's somebody will have to help me out in the comments. I think it's Victoria, or was it? Anyway, one of the capital cities in Australia. They put out a video saying that this area is going to be a 30-minute city, right? And have they not thought about? And they don't care anyway. Heavily pregnant women. You want to tell her to walk 30 minutes to go and do something from A to B, or disabled people, elderly people. I mean, they really haven't thought it through.
The problem is they have thought it through. They just don't give a fuck.
Exactly.
These laws are not going to be enforced upon the civil service. They're not going to be enforced upon the politicians. They're not going to be enforced upon the celebrities. It's only going to be for the common people.
Yeah.
And they have thought all about this, and they simply do not give a fuck.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely, 100%. I want to put up. Maybe because we were going to screen the share for one of your tunes with Justice Kane, Ballad of Mr. Ballad, the Finder of Children.
Yes, I'm getting that now.
So yeah, this is another one of your tunes with Justice Kane, as I said, Finder of Children, Ballad of Mr. Ballad. Are you referring to Mr. Ballad, the author?
No, I'm talking about the guy who was working as a special police officer in America, and he went and found a child that had been kidnapped and trafficked.
Oh,
that's what this is about. Right. There was a film came out recently called Sound of Freedom, and this guy was a Christian guy, and he was involved with hunting down the gangs that were transporting children about, and somebody asked him many traffickers have you found, and he was like 50. We've locked up 50, and the person said, well, many children have you found? And he was like, none. And then he rescued this little boy who said, my sister's still in there and you're the only person that's going to get her back. So he dropped everything and went and actually rescued her. Mm-hmm. So that's what this is about. That's a Mr. Ballard it's about.
Yep.
That should be there.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that available for sure? Yeah.
Pardon?
Are you seeing it available for sure? Down at the bottom.
Oh, yep.
Yep. Right.
Wonderful. There we go. Yeah. Just before I play it, did you guys like when Sound of Freedom was showing in cinemas? Did you have any of the funny business going on to prevent people or inhibit people from watching it or seeing the full movie?
No, I'm not aware of that. Okay. I know that we had that whenever Cassie J released the Red Pill movie. There was a lot of that, but we didn't seem to have any of that with Sound of Freedom that I'm aware of.
Yep. All right, I'm going to add that to the stage.
The ballad gets darker, the deeper the deeper you go down, you go down.
The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness, for he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children.
The deeper you go down,
And the finder of lost children.
you will need a light to guide you, and an angel to walk beside you. A day you go down. You want to know the truth, don't you?
I find the evil and the greedy under every turn of rock, where I spit out the truth, the establishment mock. From all sides I watch the opposition grow, trying to terminate the information flow. But the good book reminds me that I am blessed, protected and guided during every quest. In the valley of darkness, my way is clear. I carry a big stick and I show no fear. So prepare yourself for eternal damnation. In your nest of vipers I found my vocation. Are we so deaf that we cannot hear the screams of the children? Are we so blind that we cannot see? We are living in the depths of depravity. Are we so inept we let monsters roam, fueled on power and adrenochrome? Are we so weak we cannot fight back, beholden to our masters? The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish
So,
and the tyranny
I'll
of
just pause
evil
it.
men.
You can go along to 42's YouTube channel to watch the full clip there. As I said, that's called The Finder of Children, Ballad of Mr. Ballad. I can't believe I didn't put 2 and 2 together there, 40. You have to excuse me, I've been unwell. How did you get together with Justice Kane and decide to make some music together? Because
Right.
the stuff that you guys have done together, not only is it the lyrics and the messages really impactful, but the music itself, I really like that kind of music. So yeah, how did you guys get together and decide to do
Right.
that?
There's a guy in the chat, Al Mac, who is a music producer. That's his profession. I had him on for a stream, right? And to talk about musical production and all that sort of stuff. And he was talking about his problems in the music industry, especially the lower levels, where dissidents were having problems finding people to produce their music because they would either A, charge them an arm and a leg because they didn't like the message, B, do a crap job because they don't like the message, or just turn them down. And he has produced quite a bit of stuff for people because they know they can go to him and he'll do a good job for them. And out of that, after that stream, the last like 15 minutes of that stream, I don't know where my head was, but my cogs were all turning, and I wrote the poem that became Harmony, Melody, and Rhyme, right? Because I can write poetry and shit. So I wrote that, put it on a voice recording, sent it off to Almac, and said, look, I think I've got a song here. What do you think? Would you like to do anything with it? And he sent me back a message, says, right, yes, that's good. We can do something with this. And he got in touch with Justice Kane because he'd produced for him forever, sent him off the stuff, and it was sort of worked away from there. That's how that all came together.
Wow. it's quite astounding that, you know, people often talk about, you know, our supposed leaders or the movie industry, you know, with Disney and all these sorts of things where people understand that it's controlled, you know, the messaging there is controlled, all the celebrities controlled, all those sorts of things. But it's not very often that the subject of music comes up. And I interviewed Mark Devlin last year, and he's been researching the nefarious nature of the music industry for the past 15 years. And speaking to him and doing an interview with him, I felt was really important, because people don't talk about how music is controlled, the messaging that's involved with that as well. And we have Cafe Lockdown in Australia that's now having liberated artists submit music, poetry, and all those sorts of things.
I'm going to get you in touch with Al Mac about that.
Yeah.
Who deals with all that.
And that's come about because, particularly over the past 4 years, you know, all of these artists that are producing music or poetry or excuse me, artwork, all those sorts of things, it doesn't get out there, and it doesn't get out there for a very good reason. And just as you were talking about producers, you know, either charging you an arm and a leg because they don't like your message or whatever else they do, there has to be a space, a platform somewhere for all of this to get out into culture, because, you know, talk about outsourcing our thinking with politicians and letting them control our lives. Well, no, art is very impactful culturally, globally, you know, and they most certainly don't want these messages such as yours, your poetry and your music that you've done with Justice Kane. They don't want that out there. You know, you're one of the naughty people, 40.
Yes. Oh, I found that out the first time I went to an open mic night. I went to my first open mic poetry night, and I had a couple of poems that I learned and whatnot, and there was 50, I'm going to guess at 50 people in the room, and there was 49 leftists and me.
Wow.
It was great. It was great. Oh, really interesting thing. See, if you ever want to piss off lefties, go to an open mic poetry thing, because how it works is they put all the names in the hat. They pull the names out of the hat. Whenever your name comes out, they have to sit silently and listen to you for 3 minutes. They've no choice in that. And at the end, they have to give polite applause. And you will know, because you've heard all the other stuff, that nobody's agreeing with you, but you've just made them listen to it. It's great.
So you weren't heckled or anything, or boo,
No.
you know, boo.
No? That does not happen at open mic poetry. That's just simply not done. Nobody heckles poetry. So you know, everybody's saying I can't go anywhere and say anything. Yeah, go to an open mic poetry night and you can say pretty much whatever the fuck you want. Now, the downside is, see, whenever it comes to a break or whatever, not one person speaking to you. You are very much on your own. If you go and do a slam, and the way a slam works is everybody gets into the first round, and then they cut away a chunk of people, and then they select the people that's going to go forward to round two. You get an extra couple of minutes, and then you have the final, and the judges, who are the local celebrities in the poetry world, they make a decision on who's going to be winning that. And if you've got views like mine, doesn't matter how good your poem is, you are never ever getting past round one, because you've got their own politics, which is also what happens with comedians, with bands trying to go forward and get signed. Yeah, no, you're not saying the right thing. We're not putting you on our label. Doesn't matter how good, bad, or indifferent you are. And that's why all of our celebrities all have the same political opinion.
Yeah, funny that.
Yeah, it's strange. You would never you would never thought it was controlled at all.
Oh no, not at all. What are your
Oh,
thoughts?
oh,
Sorry.
uh, Catherine Convey is exactly on it. Imagine
Mhm.
if 5 or 10 people went to a poetry slam. And by the way, what's perfectly legal and legit to do whenever you go to a poetry night is to read something that's not your own, provided you tell them whose stuff it is. So if you're stuck for and you think you can't write a poem, uh, I write one for I'll help you write one or whatever if you want to do that, or you can go through my poetry page and pick out whatever the fuck you want and use it. I don't care. Uh, if it's going to piss off lefties, I'm fully on board with that.
Yep. That's interesting, because on social media, people having their conversations, everyone streams, everyone's always talking about, what can we do? How can we be proactive? All these sorts, how can we get the message out? All these sorts of things. And I haven't heard that one is go along to your open mic nights. And I think Catherine actually lives in the same state that I do. So, Catherine, shall we make a date of it? I think we'd have a great time.
Yeah,
Be
and
great.
if you want help with making anything rhyme or whatever, I'm all over that. I'm
Great.
sure. By the way, I'm sure you could do very well yourselves, but I'm just letting you know.
Yeah. No, it's good to know that there are resources out there for
Yep.
fellow freedom fighters that want to get involved in that. We did start off the show when we were when I had you introducing yourself and you were talking about your experience of coming out of an abusive relationship and crocodiles having shelters and being on that pecking order as opposed to men having places to go. I want to play another video that's also on your YouTube channel, and it's called Why. So I'm just going to add that to the stage,
Yep.
everybody.
We ask why, as if the answer was not obvious. The fake concern of society is obvious. Australia, 6 men a day, 42 a week. The United Kingdom, 19 men a day, 133 a week. India, 1 married man every 9 minutes. My head hurts calculating that into a weekly tally. My heart hurts by the devastation it causes. These figures dwarf the road traffic fatalities. Society tirelessly campaigns for safer roads, teaches men not to speed. If these campaigns were truly driven by a desire to preserve life, those same people would put a concerted effort into teaching these men not to kill themselves, as opposed to just simply asking, why? When the answer is obvious, the fake concern of society is obvious. Society teaches boys to respect women because women are valued. Society teaches boys to respect authority because authority is valued. Society teaches boys to respect animals because animals are valued. Nobody is teaching boys to respect themselves. The conclusion is therefore obvious that boys are not valued. Perhaps if that changes, we would not have to ask, why are these men killing themselves?
So there we go, everybody. That's, as I said, from 42's YouTube channel, Why.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anybody here would disagree that men are not valued. There's a definite agenda to not only emasculate men, but also not to preserve life, and degrade society, all those sorts of things, by removing men from the family unit, and all those sorts of things. You know, the end of the poem there, we wouldn't need to ask why men are killing themselves. I want to ask you why these reprobates are doing it in particular to men. For what ultimate goal, in your opinion, is this happening?
All right, before I go into that, big shout out to 1in3, the 1in3 campaign Australia, who do really good work for men. If anybody that's Australian here needs some resources, they've got everything you need. I believe they're doing it because they need to break the family unit, and the way to break the family unit is to get men out of it. I think that's a really large part of it. The other thing is, we have evolved for men to be disposable.
Yeah.
If you had a village with 100 people, 25 of them old, 50 of them between 15 and 25, which at that stage would have been starting to get old, and half of those are men and half of those are female, and you sent all of them outside whenever the marauding hordes or the wild beasts came, and you lost the women, you could not repopulate that village. So you sent the men out, because provided one or two came back, you can still repopulate. And we have changed how society works, but we have not lost the disposability of men.
Yep. Yeah. We've got Luke here. Hi, Luke. How you going?
Yep.
They're scared shitless of strong men. Why? Because we're dangerous to their agenda. Yep.
Totally agree, Luke. Totally agree.
Yep.
Really, really good guy.
Yeah, he's not a bad sort, is he?
Yeah.
Ye oldie Luke. Yeah, you were just talking about breaking the family unit. We see that, not only with the situation with men, about them being emasculated, not valued, degraded, all these sorts of things, but, we're seeing it of late, of it creeping into our schools, where they want, again, the children to turn to authority. And who's the perceived authority in the school? It's the teachers. And so, of course, we have this trans nonsense, where for young people who want to be referred to as something other than they were born as, the teachers can go ahead and do so, and further to that, other things as well, and not inform inform the parents. And that's enshrined in law in some places around the world, which, it's just another example of dismantling the family, and inserting authority into people's lives as their source of truth. And, to me, this is communism 101, where they want to break the family unit, and they've got all these different tactics, all these different weapons, if you like, fifth generational weapons that they're using on not only children, but also grown adults, to dismantle the family unit.
Yeah, they totally have. They have gone full bore. And on top of that, they're also putting soy into absolutely everything.
Yeah.
which is full of estrogen. We have estrogen in the water. Again, attempts to feminize men, and somewhere along the line, we need to wake up and realize that men and women are created equal but different, and are designed to coexist and create a better life for their offspring. We don't seem to have that anymore. And the other thing to be very wary of is, if an anti-bullying campaign turns up in your school, possibly called no outsiders. You need to be very worried about that because they all tend to have nothing to do with stopping bullying and everything to do with teaching an LGBTQAI agenda.
Yep. We do have one in, I know most certainly Western Australia. I don't know if it's the same around the other states of Australia. It's called protective behaviours.
Right,
And this is presented as health classes which enable young people to identify when they're being abused.
right.
Physically, emotionally, sexually, all these sorts of things. But, if people don't know, there are parental handbooks out there that you can get your hands on from the school. They have to give it to you. And if you go through that, I don't like this word grooming. I don't think it really says what it is. And it's become it's been co-opted with a negative connotation, attached with tinfoil hat wearing cookers. But, that's what it is. And they're grooming the kids in the schools with this
Yep.
protective behaviours program. And your children don't have to sit through that. You can have your children removed from that class. So I would assert that this No Outsiders program you're talking about with bullying is again one of these programs to propagandize a certain agenda to the younger generation.
Yeah, it totally is. And we had a transgender clinic in England that is either closed or in the process of being closed. And they were putting 9, 10 year olds on puberty blockers. And whenever they were asked the question of how many of those people that you put on puberty blockers in order to supposedly to give them time to think about things and make a decision, how many of them went on to full transition? And that answer was yes, Travis Stock. That answer was 100%. So there's where your grooming's happening. And the other one I'll throw in is the likes of Posey Parker, who have came on the game with their demand for a definition of what a woman is. She only became involved in this whenever they stopped targeting boys and started targeting boys and girls. And the reason why nobody's asking the question of what's the definition of a man is because if they do that, they also have to lose all of their great memes about real men don't do X, Y, or Z.
That's very interesting. You talk about Posey Parker. We had a big palaver when she was here in Australia and more so in New Zealand, actually. And people champion Posey Parker as, having the conversation about let women speak and all these sorts of things. And yes, what is a woman, all that sort of stuff. And I think that's really interesting that you say she's only come along when, women are being perpetrated, if you like, or femininity, all those sorts of things. But I think that's really interesting to contemplate. Why aren't they asking what is a man?
Posey Parker's deal is she does not like men, even whenever they've become women.
Mm-hmm.
That's her whole stick, and she's right in that we do need a proper biological definition of a woman, and we do need spaces for women. I agree with her on all of that, but I would tell people to be wary about getting fully on board with her until they've done their own deep dive and find out what the rest of her opinions are, because you probably find that you agree with her on that and very little else.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and again, another great example of, we were talking about a direct attack on men, if you like, but also just as equally, as an analogy, mainstream media, you can see with them that whatever they choose to fire their guns at, they can also attack whatever part of society it is, by omission. You know, they can lie by omission. They can tell untruths by omission. They can spread mis and disinformation by omission. And this is the same thing with this example here, is that, yes, we have someone, or it could be anyone, you know, not just in particular Posey Parker, that's championing women and, you know, all of the things that go along with what she advocates for. But just by leaving something out by omission, I think is very telling, because you know, we can't champion everyone, and I'm not suggesting that people should, and I'm not just purely having a go at Posey Parker, but I think people should pay attention to omission, you know, and what we achieve by leaving things out.
It's the most common form of deception.
Mm-hmm.
It's how they do it. If you read, I think it was Janice Flamingos has a thing out, the Sons of Feminism, that talks about all these young men who are talking about how their feminist mother treated them. The fact that she has sons doesn't mean that she's suddenly going to become concerned. Some do, some don't. It's and I will also say I need to state this. It's mad that I need to state this, but the overwhelming majority of men and women love their children and want to do what's best for them.
Mm-hmm.
We have a small minority who are really not that, are more interested in their politics than the world they leave for their children.
Yeah,
you know, it's
that's
you know,
very
you know, Posey is not atypical. The overwhelming majority of women are very concerned about their sons.
Yep, that's right. Verboten, Christine, that's German for prohibited. Did somebody say that? Did they? Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And that's what one of the things, well, was the thing that sparked me to start my channel, whenever it was now, I can't remember, was the small humans, because we had the health department here in Western Australia, I think it was June 2022, decided that not enough small humans were being jabbed and stabbed, and so the health department was sending jab vans up to primary schools here in the bush to jab and stab kids. And I had enough and thought, no, and that's when I decided to be very vocal and show my face, and go around to schools and hand out pamphlets and talk to parents on public property, not school property. Because when you start on the kids, more people need to be saying something, you know, and not only the little girls, but the little boys, all the small humans, you know.
Yes, all those small humans need protected. There should be nothing more sacred than children, and we have went through, I don't know how many years of evolution, but this is the first time that the little humans have been sacrificed to protect the old humans, and there's something very wrong with that.
100%.
You know,
couldn't agree more.
I honestly think the reason why they wanted to go after the little humans is whenever they signed up the deal to get these medical treatments in, the company supplying the medical treatments had 100% control of how many the country was going to buy. And therefore, they ended up with a load of product that they needed used. So they looked around for somewhere that they could use it and went, yeah, that'll do. I think some government ministers and people were sitting there and did not want to be answering questions about how many they had left over, and that's why they went after them.
Yeah, we've got Luke here pointing out
they
were sending jab vans to the zoo here in Perth and giving them free entry. to children who
Oh.
got vaxxed. I think they actually got a free pass for a year, if I'm
Oh.
not mistaken, if you jabbed them in at the zoo. Yeah.
We
Talk about
had
animals.
we had free cinema tickets. We had free concert tickets. We had free meals. I said that I was holding out for the Ferrari, but they never did offer those. So I still
Well,
haven't.
they were offering chips, hamburgers, and $1 million.
Yep.
You could win $1 million in the US.
Oh,
No? How's that?
yeah. So one person's getting $1 million. I'm guessing you've got to have to take in the thing before you get in that draw.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not like, yeah, you've won the $1 million. Come along and get your $1 million and your job. Oh,
Unbelievable.
it is crazy.
We're coming up to the end of Morning Rise this morning, 40. I'm thrilled to have you on the show. We are going to finish with another one of your songs with Justice Kane called Eatsy Bug. So if you could, I'll just remove this, load it up so we can screen the share. With that, I think I have to get rid of one here. Yeah, I'll remove that one. Yeah, I appreciate everyone jumping on this morning. We've covered a lot of touched on a lot of different topics and issues there, 40. Is there something you'd like to say to everyone before we finish the show today?
There's a couple of things I want to say. The first thing is, thank you very much for graciously having me on. I've had a lovely conversation, really enjoyed it. If you want to come on my show at some time, which goes out at this time on a Saturday evening, well, Saturday evening, Saturday morning for you, you are very, very welcome. I'd love to have you on.
Yeah,
the other thing I'm going to leave you with, 1 second, I need to call. The other thing I'm going to leave all your lovely viewers with is nobody wants to fight the system. And by fight, I mean do things that are legal, get involved with consultation documents, lobby your MP, raise awareness, all that. Nobody wants to be involved in that. But whenever it comes time to fight like you're the third monkey on the ramp to Noah's Ark. And brother, it started raining.
Yep. Couldn't put it any better myself. Right, we've got it here. Yeah, I'm thrilled to have spoken with you today, 40. It's been awesome. And thanks to Luke, you're amazing. We did talk about you, I think, before you popped on. But anyway, this is Justice Kane featuring 42, Eatsy Bugs. I have played it a couple of times on Morning Rise already. Hopefully we can get Michael in contact with you very as soon as possible, because culture is really going off at the moment. Go along to cafelockdout.com, press the culture tab. You can see all of the liberated artists' songs that are there, and they are there for purchase. And it's a wonderful place for liberated artists to get their stuff out there, because as we talked about this morning with 40, these producers, all the rest of it, they're all controlled. And if they don't like your messaging, computer says no. So thank you so much, 40. And thanks, everyone, for joining us and all your lovely comments. And this is Justice Kane and 42 with Eatsy Bugs. Thanks, 40.
Thank you.
This is 42 speaking. Welcome to the resistance.
You will own nothing, and you will be happy. And you will eat the bugs. Eat the bugs.
Oh shit, man. Eat the bugs? You got me wrong. You got me so wrong. You ever seen a cave drawing of somebody with a spear hunting a mosquito? Well, me either. We eat meat and we have choices. You cook the hedgehog right? It tastes like chicken. Fucking chicken. I ain't eating your bugs. I ain't eating your bugs. I started off with nothing, now I'm never going back. I I'm not getting on your progressive track. With Agenda 2030, I refuse to engage. I can see where it is going and it's just another cage. I've got hedgehog, I've got rabbit, I've got wild hog. Fuck it, I could even move to Alaska and get me a nice caribou. Fuck it, I'm not eating your bugs. You're trying to take away what I fought so hard to get, so I'm going to say no to your cattle contract. Eat the bugs? Live in some communal pod with no fucking privacy? Oh, nothing and be happy? I've seen the people with nothing and they don't look happy. Eat the bugs? Live in some communal pod with no fucking privacy? Oh, nothing and be happy? I'm not eating your bugs. Fuck it. Fuck it. I'm not eating your bugs. Fuck it. I'm not eating your bugs. Fuck it. Fuck it. Oh shit, man. You got me wrong. You got me so fucking wrong. There are millions of us in the UK, billions worldwide, unvaccinated, striding out into our third winter of death with not a care in the world. Eating pig, eating cow, eating chicken, and we will not conform. Fuck it, I'm not eating your bugs. Hey, Klaus Schwab, this is 42, and I want the word with you. Motherfucker.
Fourth Industrial Revolution. We have a window of opportunity for the Great Reset. Technology is a critical weapon. History is truly at a turning point. We can shape a better world, and we will reglobalize to make it a better place. So will all learn, and so will be happy, and so will eat the bugs.
You haven't got me talking. Why are the United Nations in charge of Stonehenge? Keeping me away from the stones? That's not world heritage, that's British heritage. You're getting to a point where the people just want to be left alone and going to get involved. Tell me again, why is the United Nations running Stonehenge? Fuck it. Stonehenge, new games, a fucking Penang mountain range, now all owned by UNESCO, so you and I can never go. Fuck your 15-minute cities and your Internet of Things. We are going back to nature, see what that life brings. We had a good look at the barren new day, so we hook up with the Woodlander and take our shit off grid. Fuck it. We hook up with the Woodlander and take our shit off grid. Fuck it. We'll hook up with the Woodlander and take our shit off grid.
This is 42 speaking. Welcome to the Resistance.
Fuck it.